Hey everyone, this is Grant. Welcome to another episode of Raising Amazing Families. Been a bit of a crazy week. Had our gear arrive from Australia, so we had to move out of the house, pack up our rental furniture, and then Mel came over to take our Australian gear back into the house and get it unpacked and shift us all back in later in the week. So pretty crazy and chaotic, but we got there in the end, and so nice to feel like we're actually making a home out of our house. So today I want to talk about the concept of pay it forward or paying it forward. And I guess where I first got exposure to the idea, even though it's probably been around for a long time, but where I first learnt about paying it forward was there was a movie back in 2000, Kevin Spacey movie called Pay It Forward. And the whole premise of the story was a young boy who had a pretty tough upbringing, and I think it was a social science teacher, which was the part Kevin Spacey played, gave the class an assignment to come up with an idea that would change the world or something to that effect. Anyway, the boy, I think his name was Trevor, came up with the idea, I think because of everything he was going through at home, came up with the idea of not so much paying a favour back to a person, but paying favours forward to people. And so the notion, when he brought it forward, had a ripple effect, had a massive knock-on effect. Not only did it impact his mother, but it also impacted the part that Kevin Spacey played, which was the social science teacher in Trevor's class, and then the ripple effect from there. And so that actually, in terms of art imitating life, that had a big impact in society. That actually started to become a thing. And I guess, fast forward to 2020, that whole idea really resonated with me when I started to think about the lessons I want to give to my kids and what are the key things that I want to teach them. So, there's the normal things like honesty, respect, and looking after one another and caring for people, etc. But this whole notion of paying it forward, it takes things to a whole new level. It's, it sort of takes the concept of respect and elevates it, because you're not just considering those around you, but you can potentially considering people you don't even know when it comes to paying it forward. And so the one thing I really think about when it comes to making a difference in this world is that concept of paying it forward. And you see it these days. There's some people that are making huge differences in this world because they're intentionally paying it forward and doing so with humility and behind the scenes. They're not necessarily getting in front of crowds of people and making themselves well known. They're doing it behind the scenes. And the most recent one I heard, and this is probably sounds more like a charity, but I guess all the time that I've spent researching Russell Brunson and ClickFunnels, I heard about the organisation called Operation Underground Railroad. And the guy that started that and eventually got Russell on board, his sole driver is around taking children out of child sex slavery. And you can only begin to imagine what that must be like. And he does it off his own back. And, he's started to get some backing now. And, he's got some big people behind him like Russell and Dean Graziosi and Tony Robbins, and probably a bunch of other well-known entrepreneurs. But, the guy did it off his own back, and it was all about paying it forward. So it's a fantastic example. And I guess, if I think about the times in my life where I had the opportunity to pay it forward, and there's some times where I definitely did, and I reached out to people. I remember some examples of when I was growing up and I was in my teenage years, going through church and various experiences like that at that time, where I definitely reached out to people. I remember going to nursing homes and things like that. And then as I got older, I actually believe I probably didn't do the pay it forward concept as well as I could have. In fact, I know I didn't. And it's something that I've thought more and more about as I've got older, and certainly as I've got the opportunity and the financial stability and all the rest of it, in my life to be able to do that. And it's not that financial stability makes a difference when it comes to paying it forward, but it can help. And so in recent years I've been thinking a lot more about it, and in particular, how do I pass that legacy on to the kids? And I see it come through in the way they interact, and in particular there's been some great examples. So Jack, I've seen him in some examples, with school friends, both when he was quite young and in recent times, and likewise with Ali and EJ, but he's still quite young. And so that's something that for me, I think if I can pass that legacy on to the kids, it would be a massive legacy, because it takes those things like honesty and respect and it just elevates them to a whole new level. So I think if you can pay it forward, you can actually make a massive difference in the world. So whoever wrote that movie, wrote that story, I think they're onto something. I think they recognise that paying it forward is what is the basis, is the framework for changing this world and having an impact on this world in terms of getting rid of the evil, nasty stuff, the negativeness that happens in this world, and starting to break through and make a change. And as I said, there's some fantastic people that do that. I mean, the real obvious heroes that we know about, the likes of Oprah and Ellen DeGeneres, and some of those people that do some really, really generous things to pay it forward using their platform that they've got. And I know there's a bunch of others. And so that's probably one of the big focus points for me over the next couple of years, is how do I pass on the legacy to our kids of paying it forward. So I'd be really interested to understand, how do you guys do it? Have you passed on that legacy of pay it forward? Have you done it yourself? Is it something you believe in, or are you against it? Is it something that you think, that you believe in, that you think could change the world, as I do? So I'd be keen to hear your thoughts and your feedback. So as I always say, please go into the podcast or Instagram and Facebook and leave a comment, and think deeply about it. Like, don't just make it a superficial, cursory thought or a comment. Like, what does it mean to you? And what can you do differently? How do you step out of your own skin, out of your own comfort, and pay it forward? Okay, take care.